So what's been happening in your world, Georgia?
A lot, actually. There's a lot of, I don't want to say hype, like it's a little cliched coming on Hockey Hype and talking about the hype, but there's a lot of positivity buzzing around. And as you know, we've just come off the last games for the Ducks, and it's bittersweet because we want to keep playing, we want to keep at it, and we want to keep driving this beautiful team. But we understand that there's things that need to be done in the meantime, and we just got to keep positive in that. Outside of that, just started the new school year and it's already killing me. It's very hard teaching teenage boys when they don't care about your subjects, but it's been a good year so far. Kicking it off strong and hoping to carry that into the next months.
And we are here to talk about the Ducks, obviously, and we have Ducks fly together up on the screen there, GG. Georgia, how was the three, I suppose, what are we calling them now, GG? Were they showcases, exhibitions? We don't know what to call them. How were the series that you played for the Ducks this season, or 23-24?
Unreal. Unfortunately, missed the first ones with my back injury. I was just saying to Gord that I've done a bulge disc and have to have a procedure done this week just to try and sort it out. So I missed those first ones just because my back wasn't quite ready. And I must say, being around the team and getting an idea of what the team feels like and how things were going to run, and being back with Jeremy Muir, even not playing, I felt really, really good about being around that team and being involved in something really exciting and really new. Coming into Sydney, we were pushed really hard against Melbourne Ice, and I think it was a big eye opener for a lot of our girls, and majority of our team haven't played at that level before, so it was a big shock and a big eye opener. But coming into Sydney, we had a bit more of an idea of what we needed to bring and what we were going to be put up against, and we were really happy with how we went regardless of the scoreline. The first game, we had a lot of really good pockets where we either shut them out or we had really good systems and we were getting a lot of good scoring chances. And then it was sort of like all the hard work up to that point paid off for us on the Sunday. Everyone showed up, everyone switched on. We didn't have that shock factor that we had in the first couple of games. And pulling the win out was a huge bonus. But the games against Adelaide, they sort of pushed us again, but we had pockets where we kept them to one goal. We kept them outside. They had no shots for a long period of time. And it sort of just showed our growth from week to week and from game to game. And us as a room and as a team, we were so proud of just how far we've come. And the girls who started a little bit shaky and a little bit unsure, they really found their stride and started to push for those top spots on the team. So I think overall the biggest word we can use is that we're really proud of each other and really excited for what's to come.
How was the growth of those players that hadn't been exposed to that sort of caliber of play before? Was it quite good to watch up close to see how much the players who haven't experienced against AW sort of quality players in that sort of scenario, was it good to see them grow as they did?
Yeah, it's unbelievable, actually. You've got players like Justine Krulak and Briar Johnson. Justine, who just came off her first tour with the national team, the U18, and Briar, who probably would have been in the mix if she had her citizenship. And watching them just like from the first round into the second and third weekends, just step up and to show their grit and determination. It's really exciting to see our young girls stepping up into that spot. But then you've even got girls who are coming into it later, and we've got Tanya Crawley, who's come across from inline, and it's her first real experience at ice hockey, and she's taken to it so well. And as she sort of ditches some of those inline habits, she'll just become this little weapon, and we're really excited to see it. And you've got girls that have been around for a while and trained with the Ducks all through last summer. And like, we just love to see them step into that space that they haven't experienced and really just put their mark on it. Alita Jackwitz, I think, is one of the ones to watch. Like, she's so quick and really like clever on the puck. And I think once she gets the idea of the pace of the game and holding the puck and being just a little bit more confident, I think she's going to be a weapon. So again, like, it was just really like for myself and for Lucy and Amanda and a couple of our older girls that have played before, it's just cool to see the girls that haven't had the opportunity yet step into that space and really just take it.
Can you describe? I know after having had a chat with Jeremy Muir after the first set of games against Melbourne, yeah, he was like, we really would love to score a goal. And I think in that second game against Melbourne, he was like, wouldn't it be great to score a goal here? And Melbourne kind of burned the ice, kind of burned the Ducks a little bit towards the end of the third period because you were just trying to score. Can you describe the feeling in the group in that weekend against Sydney, that second set of exhibition games, when you got your first, the team scored its first goal and then won its first game?
Yeah, I'm a crier. And it's like, I even think about it now, and Briar getting that first goal, like, I don't think it could be any better. I think one of the young ones getting in there and taking that, and we're not relying on Lucy or myself or Shana or someone to step into that space and to do all of that. Like, we have the kids that are really confident and they're really driven too. Like, they really want to push this and see it succeed. So obviously you can tell that it's very important and it's like really special. And the first goal, I'll never forget. I'm sure that the rest of the team will agree that it's something really important, really special. But then to see us sort of share the load, and even through that other game against Sydney, we had different goal scorers, and coming up against Adelaide, managing to pop one as well. It's really important to us that it's all of us or none of us. We're not jumping on the bandwagon of one or two players to jump in and score the goals. Like, we really drive each other to do it for each other as well. So, yeah, I mean, it's an amazing feeling having something like, especially coming off the back of the Melbourne Ice games where it was just really difficult and we couldn't get out of the zone and our shots were just being broken down just because their goaltending is so strong. And to have that success and to feel like we can actually run with these teams if we keep working, I think that was huge, and it's something that we'll never forget. We'll never take it for granted either. I think that's important.
And for you, you've been around, with the Melbourne Ice, obviously, and
I've been around a long time.
And with, well, I'm not going to say it, but yes, you said it. But you've been around like Australian national teams, like you've been around different groups and different dynamics. And what makes the Ducks dynamic unique, do you think? Because we can tell you've got a connection and a love for the team. What's the special sauce for the Melbourne Ducks?
I think the biggest thing for me is having such a passionate group behind the team. So it's not just the players. It's not just like what you see on the ice. It's everything that goes on behind the scenes. So Jeremy Muir, anyone who has been coached by him will know how quality he is as a coach, as a person, as an ambassador for women's sport. He's so good to work with, and he drives us without even trying to drive us. Like, he just shows up and he puts a lot of effort in, and he is sort of the one that's holding us together on the ice. And then the team with Ross and Ice HQ and all the support that we get from there, and they just want to see us succeed. It's really nice to walk into something that feels like it's not a pressure on us, and we're not looking to win every game, and we're not looking to be this big dominant force. We're just looking to be different and successful in our own way, and the team driving the team behind the scenes is a massive part of it, and I think that's what will set us apart.
And for yourself, taking it back to the very start, how did you get involved in hockey? How did it all start for you?
I was a little rink rat when I was a kid. We took inline skating lessons, me and my brother, and we got to the point where the inline hockey was directly after our skating lesson, and my brother wanted to try it, but then I was only interested in sticking around and watching all the boys. Dad turned around one day and he goes, "I'll give you $5 if you just go out and try it." And the next time I did, and that $5 turned into thousands and thousands and thousands as he put all three of us through like every trip that we could possibly think of, every tournament, local, interstate, international. It turned into this big snowball, which I know that he doesn't regret now, but it may have been different if he knew that it was going to be this way.
And you've obviously represented Australia as well. How have you seen the growth of the national teams, whether or not it's the national women's team, or how have you seen from someone who's been in those systems and represented the country, how have you seen the growth of like even under 18s who are just doing extremely well? And even we've recently seen the 3-on-3 competition as well. How have you seen the growth of the national teams since when you first started up until today?
I've been really fortunate to be on the team 4 times, and I think it's good in a way, and I like the way that I've done it in terms of having a year or 2 off in between and being able to see the differences as we come through. So I played under a different coach pretty much every time I went, and it is cool to see the growth and how different coaches put their own spin on it and how different teams are picked, obviously for different reasons and different divisions. The goal is always to win. The goal is always for promotion, but to see how they tweak it slightly and put more emphasis on either a senior group or a junior group, or it might be goaltending one year. Like, you never know what the different part is going to be. So that's what kept it exciting for me. And I was really lucky. I'm very grateful for every opportunity that I had to pull on the green and gold. I think what we've done with the U18 program has been really special. And I say we, like I've been involved, I haven't, but we have put so much support behind them, and we've really boosted that team. And then I was lucky enough to be around them for their selection camp, and just the way that they come together, they're like a little family as well. And it's kind of nice to be on the outside looking in to something that I had experienced as an adult. So watching the kids get to experience that and knowing that they've got so many years ahead of them is really, really special. We couldn't be prouder of them, really. Like, they killed it overseas this year, and they're just going to keep kicking goals. The really young ones that are coming through. We got Poppy Kelly here down in Melbourne. She's killing it. Jasmine Chen over in Adelaide. She's a weapon. We played against her in the Adelaide games, and she's tough. So I think not only the team that we have currently, but the girls coming up through that will fill those gaps of the seniors going out is going to be really important.
I'll just bring up some comments from the chat. An expensive bribe, Andrew Johnny, again, just based on the $5 transaction with your dad. Phil Taylor, he'll stick to photography. Thanks. So thanks, Phil. And this is a lovely one. Jared came up and introduced himself when I went to the Sirens game on Sunday. Sydney fan through and through, but a hockey fan above that. In my opinion, something would be wrong if the Ducks are not in for the 24-25 season. 1 vote here. So we've got 1 vote for the Ducks. You've got another 2, I reckon, here from Doogie and I. So that's 3. Let's just call it. it.
We don't need anyone else's opinion. That's fine. And look, like, that comes with a lot of stress too. Like, we left that last game against Adelaide really positive because we felt like we had a good game. We really held it together as a core, and no one was really disappointed. Like, we understood that the scoreline wasn't what we wanted, but we didn't walk away disheartened. We walked away really positive and looking forward to the future. And I think that's what will sort of keep us together through the off season. And really pull it in. But I think, like, of all of the things that I can think of that would lead to a no vote, I can think of a solution for. So I think coming off the back of the Matildas, even our U18 program doing so well, I think now is the time to just grow the sport. It's like, logistically, it's doable to make sure that it's a positive experience for everyone and it's not going to destroy anything in the meantime. So I'm obviously a little bit biased because I want my team to do well. But I think every problem has a solution, and we just have to work hard enough to make it work.
As a former AW champion as well, we'll get the standings up, GG. They are the standings after week 12 of the competition, with the Adelaide Rush sitting on top, 27 points. Melbourne Ice second, 26. Georgia's former team. The Inferno 25, the Lightning 18, the Sirens, who picked up another win on the weekend, finished with 11 points for the season. Just for you, Georgia, how have you seen the season, and what are your thoughts heading into the finals? We know that the 4 teams are locked in with the Rush, the Ice, and the Inferno and Lightning. How have you seen the season so far? Because I think it's been one of the best AW seasons we've had for a long time.
I'd agree. I think the quality of the teams has been top notch. Every team has their own strengths and weaknesses. And I think touching on Sydney getting another win on the weekend, like, that's huge. If you think about the average age of their team and how they've had a lot of their vets move on. I think for that young core, all they need to do is look forward and to think about, like, everyone has to start somewhere. And if they can stick together and they can tough it out, they have shown so much progress in one season. Imagine in 2 years' time when they're all much older, a little bit more mature, more experienced in the league. I think they're going to be a force before we even get to blink. I love to see Melbourne Ice doing well. My sister's still there. I've got friends still there. And I think that's important for them to still be successful because we have been such a force for so long, right? Like, you look in the rink and you see all the banners, and success is kind of something that comes not too far behind that name. So I think it's important that we uphold it in Melbourne. I'm obviously biased. I want Janelle to do well always. I want her to win every time she steps into the net. I want her to be amazing. So that's great to watch. I personally think Adelaide have it. I think that their forecheck is something that I haven't seen in the league since it started. And I can say that because I was there. I think that they're so well coached and so well driven, and every single person on the ice knows exactly what their job is, exactly how to do it. They make sure that they're covering each other. So they've got Maya jumping in on the blue line and then someone's covering her back out. Like, it's so beautiful to watch. Annoying to play against, I won't lie, but it's awesome to watch. And they really are a force. I don't see, it'll be close. It'll be a close series, but I just don't see a scenario where they don't come out on top.
We have spoken about the Adelaide Rush forecheck a fair bit, GG. Do you see the standings? We've got a big final weekend coming up. Do you see a bit of a reshape with these standings, or you think they will sort of settle into what we have?
Me or Georgia?
GG, you.
Oh, me. Well, it's a tough series. Adelaide traveling away to Perth, so to finish. So, you look at that, and is that a split? We'll get to some stuff a little bit later, but Perth have won every game on the Saturday. Will that trend continue or not? And then Melbourne take on Brisbane at O'Brien. So if there is a split between Adelaide and Perth, you could see Melbourne leapfrogging them for that top spot. But I think I'm gonna probably get into trouble from head coach Graham Hyde of the Inferno. But I think the top two stay the same. So I think it's going to be Melbourne Adelaide or Adelaide Melbourne. Not sure how that shakes out, but I think that'll stay the same. Just a comment from the chat, Andrew Egan, again, going back to a little bit earlier, derby game in Melbourne and the AWIHL would be fantastic. Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
There's already that inevitable rivalry starting to form too. Like, you can just feel it. Like, when we were in the rink together, it was kind of like, even though we all know each other and we've played together for years, it was a bit of like everyone's eyeing each other off and trying to see how it's going to go. And I think that obviously will only build. We've seen it in the men's league as well. We can all be pals off the ice, but I think once we get into that environment, it's game on, and it is exciting. And I think that's another selling point. Like, we can grow the game so much more with that rivalry, and I think the fans will get way more involved.
I also think having a separate rink as well plays a big factor in it. So it's not the two Melbourne teams playing out of the same rink. So the two different rinks. And we've seen the crowds that were showing up for the Ducks PHL season. Can you tell us about the fans that you get there, Georgia? Because it seems like it's pretty rowdy and they're sort of up close to the glass. And the Ducks fans seem pretty passionate as well.
Yeah, that's another big part of like what drives us, right? Like, the fans they're really involved. We have people sort of stopping us, even if we're just at the rink or like wandering through. They recognize us and they want to chat and they want to sort of congratulate us for what we achieved. So I think the fans are a big driver. And when Briar scored that first goal, the rink erupted. Like, it was so loud. And I think that's what people can expect when they come to a Ducks game. Like, we have a good atmosphere. We have a good environment. Having two different rinks for competing teams, I think also will bring in a different demographic. Like, we have a lot of fans around this reservoir area, and I think it'll only grow the sport overall. Like, we have a lot more people coming to watch games, and then they end up putting the skates on. So then it changes it all.
Yeah, and the in-game experience, the interviews. I love the interviews at the intermission. Carl and Anton's commentary is always good value. So, you know, I think there's a lot of pluses.
They're unreal to have around too. Like they're good guys. They know what to do. They know how to do a good job, and they're just like they're super supportive of everyone too. Like you don't really ever hear them being like they're never biased in the commentary. They're never sort of picking out players that they want to highlight more than anyone else. And the interviews are hilarious. Like we love doing the interviews. We love watching the other teams do the interviews. It's just really fun.
I think Ice HQ as well as a whole, not just with the Ducks. I think Ice HQ as a whole, they do a great job with promotion and their social media and things like that. So that's only a positive as well to come out of, hopefully, fingers crossed, the Ducks getting into the A-Dub, I think anyway. Is there, coming out of those series that you held, is there a, what's the next step? I don't even know if you know, but what's the next step with the group as well? Do you train together often? Do you stay together? How does it all sort of work now?
We don't really know, like in terms of logistics or like the league happenings and things like that, we have no idea, which is great. The people behind the scenes, they do all of that and they're better at it than we are. So we leave that to them. For now, we just have like the ice sessions when we grab them, and with the group chat's always firing. Like I think we're in contact with each other every day, just sort of checking in and sharing photos and GIFs and stories and things like that. And I think we'll take some time just to sort of feel what it is and what it was and what it can be, and then fire it back up and stick together in the winter and ride it all the way through to the next one.
So what's the next thing for Georgia Carson?
We are also very fortunate at Ice HQ that we have the Women's Pro League that ran through last winter. It's the first, like it was really exciting for the first one. It's the first time that we've been afforded the opportunity to play in the same conditions as the men. So we got the same time slot. We got the same, whatever you want to call it. Like we didn't have to pay to play, and that without like beating around the bush and like sounding stupid. That was really important because for so long we've heard about the boys and how well they have it and how much they don't need to pay. And for us to be afforded the same opportunity was massive. But not only that, for us to be able to bring in girls from interstate and play with them instead of against them was really cool too. So I know I had a few on the Inferno that flew in, and I think we had a couple on the Snipers, and that's what I'm looking forward to the most. Like I'm in the middle of a men's season coaching their Inferno, but my brain is always on what's next for the women's Inferno. I'm already like doing my little side deals, figuring out who I want to get from the other teams, figuring out who's going to be in the draft. We love it so much. And that's my next thing. Get my back right. And then Inferno is going to be firing.
I thought GG was going to go. Before we let you go, Georgia, we'll bring up the GG's done a great graphic here, as he always does. We'll bring up the scoring leaders for the A-Dub. And you've obviously played against a lot of these players that are on this scoring list. So we have Michelle Clark-Crumpton on top with 33 points from 14 games played, having an absolutely outstanding season. Ashley Aparicio second on 29 points. Sarah Salmons third on 28. Sarah Edney fourth on 27 points. And Shana Godfrey fifth on 26 points. What have you seen from this season, the games that you've watched, Georgia, with the firepower that the A-Dub has produced? We're going to talk with you about Sarah Edney as well after we bring this graphic down, but someone that you obviously know closely as well, Shana Godfrey, has just been unbelievable for the Melbourne Ice as well. In terms of firepower and scoring power, what have you seen from this season? Because it just seems like every weekend there's highlight goals from a lot of these players.
I like that the top five it's not import heavy. And even though Michelle and Sarah, like they're not Australian born, I think they've been here a long time. So it's not the imports that we're bringing in to do a job that are taking over. And I think that's really important, especially as we look to the national team. Like you got those four out of 5 play on the national team, and that's going to be a really big key going into this year. MCC being up there is no surprise. Like she's a weapon. She has that natural goal scoring ability. She's always in the right spot at the right time, and she can put them home in the most awkward position. Ash is very close to me and my heart, and I'm a big fan of the two-way game that she plays, and I think she deserves to be up there. She sets up a lot, and you can see like she's very heavy on the assists. So I think that's her natural game coming through, which is great. Sarah Edney's terrifying, like in the best way possible. She's equal parts terrifying and like just great to play against. And then, Shana and Sarah, say that fast 5 times. The two of them in there, obviously no surprise. They're both super quick. Sarah's got a cannon of a shot, and Shana's she's always sneaking around there. Hated playing against her, loved playing on the same team as her. It's nice to see. It's a good top 5, I reckon.
Any surprises for you, GG, in that top 5?
Imagine if Sarah Edney was playing with Kayla Nielsen or Nadine Edney. Like she's on 22 goals and 5 assists. We'll get to Sarah in a little bit, but geez Louise, Cy Young numbers, right? Just ridiculous. But yeah, I think that's pretty. If you were to say at the start of the season, come up with a top 5 list, I reckon you'd have a few names in there. Maybe Elizabeth Scala, I would have put up in the top 5 before the season. But yes, I mean Scala still had a great weekend. But yeah, I think all the players there. There's like Georgia said, there's different skill sets, right? So you go through that list. You've got salmon speed, Sarah Edney's shot. We'll get to her shot. Like I was at Macquarie on Sunday, and it was terrifying hearing the puck hit the boards. It's like, oh my god, that could kill a man. And then Shana Godfrey is like, JD calls her the apex predator for a reason. Ashley Aparicio, absolutely, two-way game, and MCC can dangle in a phone booth, and almost impossible to stop from in close. So I just think it's great to see those different skill sets being on display in the top 5.
Yeah, I think it's great to see Ashley Aparicio up there. I think probably the best two-way player in the league. Really great to watch every single weekend when you watch the Melbourne Ice play. So I think it's really cool. We did touch on, we've got Edney does it again. 2 more goals on the weekend. Just absolutely rifles them home. They're just from the blue line, doesn't matter where, just rips it, get out the way, and you have to be a great goaltender to stop him. We'll chuck up the goal, and then we'll get George's thoughts on Sarah.
Into the middle, Edney, how did she do that? Spinning out now, Edney on the breakaway. Edney firing, what a goal that was. That was unbelievable. How she managed to...
As a good call from Todd. Another great goal, and it was only the weekend before GG. We put up the reel on our socials of the slap shot. It was just fired into the top shelf. Just tell us about Sarah Edney, Georgia. You're just amazed every single week, and it was a 25-minute hat trick as well the previous weekend. Just unbelievable player, having an unbelievable season.
I think talking about that reel of the slap shot from the blue line, and I think I commented on it when it came up, that she did the exact same thing to Melbourne Ice when they were at Macquarie. And it's like for like. It's 2D. She winds up, the 2D freeze because they're like, holy crap, like I'm either going to die or it's going to go straight by me. And she just has the ability to freeze D and then pick a spot. Like I don't understand how she's so accurate all the time. I mean, obviously she must practice a lot. I don't, but and I think she's just like, the way I've watched her carry some of those juniors through, and I think the Siren success is a lot credited to her. I think she works really well with the young ones, playing against her, seeing her really pump them up and really like be their biggest fan, I think that was really impressive too. And I mean, obviously she's a weapon of a goal scorer. I just think, like, if there's one player that I don't want to play against, it's her. She's hard to stop because she has such a deep pocket. So she's got so many different skills. You think she's going to wind up and then she'll just step right around you. You think she's going to step and she just pulls in and winds up. So I'm very lucky not to have blocked a shot in no padding from her. But I will say I took one from Steph Newmark. That ain't fun. So if Newmark can injure me the way that she did, I don't want to have to find out what Edney could do to me. So I just think she's great. She's a great all-rounder. She's a D. She's a forward. She's a weapon of a goal scorer. She'll shut you down on a one-on-one. Like, she's great.
Yeah, not just a shot, GG. Not just a shot. It's the stick handling, able to get it through the neutral zone and break the lines. And there's a save that we're going to show up later on when we talk about Sasha King on Edney. The strength as well to come from the left wing and just get past the defender and then get onto net with the one stick. Not just a shooter.
Yeah, and there's a reason why she was drafted first overall in the Canadian Women's Hockey League draft, right? Like we have a player playing over here that was drafted first overall. That's just nutso, right? And she played for 4 years for Harvard University and NCAA Division I. Played in the NWHL, playing now with the Sirens, and has played with different teams as far as different pieces surrounding her, and has played D for a lot of time, playing forward this season a lot more. So you think of that versatility. I was having a chat with Sarah Doramaja and Remy Harvey on Sunday, and they were both. We were kind of debating who was the most skilled player to ever play for the Sirens, and they've had a lot, but they settled on Sarah Edney. I hope I'm not dropping confidential information or making enemies for them, but that's the level of respect that they have for them. Todd Morris just commenting, the spin out of traffic blew my mind. Yet she did in the neutral zone there. We need to start a campaign to make Edney an Aussie citizen. We'd love to see her in green and gold. And one for you, Georgia, the best guest, Georgia Carson from Sarah Salmons.
Love you.
Mark Weber, Aussie Puck. Let me know when she needs to become an Aussie. I have good contacts in immigration space. So, getting deals done from the inside. But yeah, she's just she's a heck of a lot of fun to watch. And I don't want to. We've talked before about the percentage of goals that she scored. She scored more than half the goals that forwards have scored for the Sirens this season, which is just mind blowing.
She's also,
but I think,
too seriously too. Like she's not like this big player that comes in with a big ego. Like she's really she's just cool to be around as well. And it's not often that we get such the quality of player with that sort of calm nature, and she's super down to earth. So that's really refreshing too.
And I don't know about you, GG, and we obviously don't know the inner sanctum of the Sirens, but I remember when we had Andrew Egan on our show on the other podcast that we did, we were talking about Sarah Edney, who described carrying the bag for the Sirens this season. But I think at the back end of the season, you can see a bit of leadership, I'm guessing, coming from Sarah now, where players like Nikita Horvat are popping up scoring goals as well. So they're getting a bit more confidence at the back end of the season, which they will hopefully carry into next season.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you look at the growth of some of those players and the amount of players as well that went away to the World Youth Olympic Games and that are named to the under 18 team and then senior women's team, and not just on the full squad but reserves. It's like 6 players I think they have, 2 on the main squad and 4 reserves. So it's you love to see that growth, and you love to see players like a player like Ebony Brunt, who they've been trying to put as a center and has shown some glimpses of she's going to be like a special player on this team. And I think a lot goes on behind the scenes that we don't know, but yeah, that leadership group of Edney, Brunt, and Moon has been great for this young team. And yeah, absolutely. Like, I would love to play with a Sarah Edney. Like, just unreal.
Before we let you go, Georgia, anything you want to plug for the Ducks? Anything you want to say to the millions of listeners and viewers that are tuning into our live stream here, where they can find the Ducks, how they can support the Ducks, all that sort of stuff out of Ice HQ?
Yeah, sure. So Ice HQ is around the corner here on Blake Street in Reservoir. I say around the corner, I'm 5 minutes from the rink, which is another very big plus. But I just think, like, get around them. Follow them on social media. They've got a kids team, so like if your little one wants to get involved, that's a great avenue to jump in. I just think that, like, it's really exciting, and the more the merrier. So the more that can get on board and the more that can sort of jump in and support, the better it will be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ice HQ is doing great things for the sport, and I think more hockey is good hockey. I've always said that to Gordon. If we get more teams in it, as they say in the movie, if you build it, they will come. If you have more opportunities, the women and girls will pick up sticks and they'll start skating.
That's it. And it's nice to be back with, like, I played with Lucy when I was young, and we played together early on, and it's cool to be back with her and to be the big part of driving this team and to bring what we have experienced in the league. I think we don't look at ourselves that way, but it's nice to sort of to be able to offer that and put back into the sport and make sure that the girls that are coming up behind us, they've got somewhere to go.
Yeah, absolutely. Anything you got to add, GG, before we let Georgia head off?
No, just thanks for coming on. Thanks for being a good human as well. Like, I've always hit you up at different times, whether it's national teams or A-Dub stuff. I still remember that first time I was walking around in Melbourne at finals in 2020, and you saw me wearing an AWIHL jersey and stopped and had a chat, and you and your sister. And I just thought that was just like top class. So yeah, thank you for all you do for hockey. The stuff that people see and the stuff people don't see. Yeah, it's people like you that make the sport as great as it is. So thank you.
Thank you. That's much more than I deserve, but I remember that day as well, and I will never forget. But yeah, I just hope that there's enough juice behind the Ducks and enough time for me. I'm really close to 200 games, and I think it would be awesome to do that with a new team and finish it off that way. Before I do run, I do want to say you two are doing an unreal job. Just getting, like, this is probably the most attention that the women's game has had here for a long time, and you guys are big drivers behind that. And I'm very, very grateful to have been here and to have the chat. And I'll always help you out, whatever you need.
No, awesome. Thank you. Patricia, Finney, 3 thumbs up. I think those are for you, Georgia. So
yeah, maybe. I only have 2, but
Georgia Carson, thank you for coming on the podcast, on the show tonight. We really appreciate it. Good luck with the back, and good luck with the Ducks in the future. And fingers crossed, we're sitting here with you next season, and the Ducks are officially in.
Thank you so much. I have the same hopes.
Yep, and thank you from Phil as well. Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, love you, Phil.
And Christian Nutt as well. Yep, thanks.
Oh, my fans coming out of the woodwork. What's going on?
Yeah, they were waiting for you to leave.
Oh. Right. Thank you guys very much. I will speak to you both very soon.
Yeah.
Thank you.